one man who's out in India, 4 times Ashes winner, and probably one of the best English batsmen of all time, Kevin Pietersen, joins us now live from Hyderabad. Kev, very good morning,
KP,
Kevin.
how are you?
Hey, legends, how are you?
We're in top
good.
form, mate.
We're looking forward to this. It's
Good.
going to be tough. Would this be sort of the toughest tour for England anywhere in the world?
Yep. Yeah, it's right up there. It is. It's a very tough tour. The cricket's tough, and just the environment in which these guys are kept in is, yeah, it is. It's very, very tough. It's very, very demanding. It's demanding all day, every single day, because it's a cricket-loving country, and cricket is a religion in this country. So, your time is. I mean, it's not yours when you land on the shores here in India, and you get your time back when you leave. So, if you're playing well, it can be good. If you're playing poorly, you know about it, and it can be a disaster.
KP, tell us, mate. I mean, you mentioned it's a tough place to go. I can't believe it, right? I've got the stats here. It says India have lost just 3 of their 40 home tests in the last 10 years, which is an absolutely remarkable record. And it shows you the degree of difficulty the English boys are going to be faced with. What's it going to take? Yeah. What is it going to take for English lads to come home with a victory?
I think what it can take is the knowledge of the statistics that you've just given now, and say, well, we have our backs up against it, and I've come in with a clear plan to play in a different way. They almost got it right in the Ashes. They obviously tied that series, but I think that I'm hoping that the preparation that they've done in Abu Dhabi has been good. I've seen some reports, and I've also seen some images of what the lads look like, and they look like they are in tip-top condition. So no doubt they would have done the right preparation. But I think that sometimes when you've got your back against the wall and you've got a really positive captain and you've got a really positive coach that always wants to choose that aggressive nature of play and the positive option, then just chuck it out there and see where you get to. Yeah. What's the worst that can happen? You just lose again. No one wins here. I mean, our team won in 2012. Last time anybody beat India. So what's the worst that can happen? You can lose 5-0. People have done it before, and people will always do it.
Kev, some of the press today say that Ben may gamble and say to Joe Root, go and open the bowling. Would that be a good idea in your mind?
Well, I just have heard a report that they are only playing one seamer. So I think that Mark Wood's the only seamer, which means that he might open the bowling. I haven't seen the wicket. I've only just arrived in India, so I've not seen anything. But I'd be very surprised if after what happened in Cape Town with that day-and-a-half test match, that India don't go all guns blazing and just make these, we call them in cricket term, Bunsen burners. So that it can be a lottery. Win the toss on day 1, you've got to bat well, and then on day 2, day 3, day 4, if it gets there, she's going to spin.
Yeah.
KP, tell me just what. Obviously, a couple of players missing for the first couple of tests. Certainly, Harry Brooks been well documented. But I want to talk more. That's more on the focus of no Virat Kohli. Clearly, it's not the ideal situation. England will boost England's chances, you would imagine, but at the same time, they probably wouldn't want it that way. Give us an indication of how big a loss Virat Kohli is for the Indian team and what he means to the Indian team.
I mean, you guys have covered football for a very long time, and you understand the gravitas that a guy like David Beckham has in England. Times that by 1,000. That's what Kohli's life is like here in India. He can't do anything. The biggest stars, the Tendulkars, the Dhonis, the Kohlis, they live a completely different life. And so that weight of expectation of 1 billion people on his shoulders every single time he steps out in public is something that he's had to deal with, and he's dealt with it remarkably well. And I say it's a big loss for India, and it's a big plus for England, because where he feels most free is when he bats, and that's why he produces the results that he does on the field. He goes over the white line, and he doesn't have to worry about what he looks like or what he says. He lets his bat do the talking, and that's where he feels most free. And so for England, it's a major, major, major plus that he's not playing, and it's a huge loss for India. But these guys have got so many young, talented players that the IPL over the last 15, 16 years has just delivered player after player after player. And so you're going to see some pretty extraordinary players that turn up that aren't necessarily household names for anyone in England yet, but you'll watch these guys play, and they can properly play.
Well, one guy, KP, we don't know if we're going to see is Bashir. Now, we find this remarkable, this story. You know, he's had to fly, but he's going to have to come to the High Commission in London to try and sort the visa problem out and then fly back to India. It seems very petty to me.
I was just going to say, before you answer that, KP, have they not got a bit of previous? Did Khawaja not have a problem getting in there?
I think he did. Listen, I don't know the political situation here around everything, but I mean, it's just, for me, it's one of those where he's a little kid. He may or may not have played, and we live in a world now where there's so much toxicity, and there's so many things that are happening. And I was never ever I never believed that sport and politics should join hands. I always thought that you've got to leave politics and sport alone. But actually, because of how great sport is and how it unifies countries, it unifies all sorts of people, with the world and the way the world is at the moment, we could potentially use sport to unify and make us all love each other again. So I don't understand, and I don't know the reason, so I can't comment. But I just don't feel that the political environment around the negative political environment around sport is a good thing. I think using it positively to actually join people together and actually make people love each other again is something that we should be doing. I just believe we live in a very, very unsavory world at the moment. You turn on your TV and it's just I mean, it's horrible everywhere and anywhere. I've just been in South Africa, and there's all sorts happening in South Africa leading up to a general election there. I mean, you just turn on the screens now, America's going through what they're going through. The UK is also not the most wonderful place. So, just maybe use sport for good.
Yeah. Well, here. Kev, look, enjoy it over there. It's going to be fascinating, and we'll talk over the next few days. Thank you very much. Enjoy the first test. Brilliant.
It's going to be awesome,
Kevin Pietersen there, and rightly so. Have a go, England. Have a go.
I think they will, mate.
Good. All right, 8:17.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.